Lights, camera, action. Do you wonder how films are produced and what really goes on behind the scenes? Well, stand by. Filmmakers Kevin Mumphrey, Victoria V.A. Jones, and Carson Hype Ferguson, local filmmakers talking about the world of film, right here on F It, We Will Fix It in Post podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever time you're listening, thank you for doing so. I am Kevin Mumphrey, and this is We Will Fix It in Post. I am here with my colleagues, Victoria V.A. Jones.
What's going on?
And Carson Hype Ferguson.
Sure.
And today we're going to dive into the world of news broadcasting. And today we are talking to someone who works in the world of news television. I introduced to you all to anchor reporter for ABC 7 in Little Rock, Jeané Franseen. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing great. How are you all doing?
Good. Fabulous. So started off with, what made you interested in the world of news?
Well, growing up, I always watched. I'm from Memphis, so a very heavily news city. When people think of Memphis, they think of First 48, unfortunately. So, we were always on the news.
Hey.
But I got into television in high school, did it at college with Kevin at MTSU, interned at the top station in Memphis, News Channel 3, and just really fell in love with it. And I love to serve the community anyway, so that's really what this job is. It's not about being a face or perks or anything like that. It's really a service field. So just being able to help those in the community and give back is what it's all about.
So in college, when you're, and usually before you graduate, you make a reel to send the news director. So do you remember the first reel you made?
Yeah. Thankfully, I had my internship the year before I graduated. So I was able to have some stuff on there that, was actually on the themes of places. But a lot of stuff on the football field. We covered sports at MT. I did a story about this house being spray painted with a swastika on it in Rutherford County. I have some pretty dope stuff on there, but obviously, thank God for growth, right? Because if I was to try to submit that same reel today for the job I just got in Little Rock, they probably laugh.
So I had a teacher tell me your first reel is good enough to get you your first job. After you get your first job, you burn it.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily look. I could have burned it because I don't do the kids even know what CDs are anymore. I had it on a CD.
You had it on a CD?
Yeah, I had it on a CD. I mailed it out.
Oh, you did it old school.
Yeah, I did. So, of course, you make the YouTube channel and everything, but some of the openings would say send your reel to, and then it'll have the news address, and then attention the HR, hiring manager, or the news director. And so I'm like, well, how do I send it? This big file, you can't compress it into a zip file because it's one big thing. So I just sent the CDs off.
Hey, do what you got to do. That's what's up.
That's a different time.
Yeah, but it's so competitive though, because so many people that I went to college with and that Kevin went to school with, unfortunately, when you apply to so many stations and you don't hear back, they're like, okay, well, let me go back and get my master's and teach. That's the other thing people do. Or they'll go to law school, something that they can use that communication bachelor's degree for to progress in life. So it's highly competitive.
Highly. So how long did, from graduation, how long did it take you to get your first job?
Okay, so I graduated December of 2013. I had a job April of 2014.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it took
But I was applying 6 months before I graduated.
Oh, that's dope.
So,
that's dope. You're smart.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I know people are like, oh, that's just January, 4 months. But now that's 10 because I was applying while I was still in school.
It was literally a year for me. And this is how crazy I was. Like my last day of class, I was talking to people like, nah, don't worry about it. I've been pulling fillers out there. I'll get something in probably a few weeks.
How did that turn out?
Man, it didn't turn out good at all because I was sending like 25 resumes a day For like,
Yeah, I applied to over 115 stations.
oh, thank God it's not just me.
No exaggeration, like over 115. Now, thankfully, I could change out the hello, sir or ma'am, and, change out the call letters. So that email draft, thankfully, I didn't have to retype it that many times. But, we look at our class, and you can pretty much size yourself up with classmates to know, like, how well you're doing and what you need to work on, right? But when you're applying for that first job, it's not just you, it's your school. I'm competing against people who go to TSU, FISC, UT not, and that's just the state of Tennessee. University of Memphis, shout out to them, by the way, because they won the NIT tournament today.
Yes.
But yeah, like it's such a wide net you have to cast. And then there are those who are willing to start behind the scenes. I didn't want to start off as a producer or as a, teleprompter operator because sometimes you get stuck there. So I was like, okay, I'll start off as an MMJ. Not that glamorous, but you get your feet wet and you make little to nothing, and then you try to move forward that way.
Now, people see it MMJ, it's just somebody who's on camera, but you did mention it's non-glamorous. So, like, what is the work entail in being an MMJ?
Okay, so my first job out of college, I don't mind being real with you. My first job out of college, I worked for a Nexstar station in Monroe. But they had a bureau, which is where they had their license, which was in El Dorado, Arkansas. So, like, let's say maybe population of 8,000, just so you can see the city I worked in. As an MMJ, I was the reporter for that entire region. And so I had to shoot my own video, had to write my own scripts. I had to edit that video, then look decent enough to be on camera to share my story with the viewers. The station consisted of a camera, one salesperson, and me. I would be working on a story, and they would call me. There's breaking news. I have to stop that, go shoot the breaking news, and come back and work on the story I was working on. Not glamorous at all, and I only made $25,000.
Wait, did you say a camera?
Huh?
Did you say a camera?
A camera. Yeah, It was me and my camera.
So I thought you were gonna say a cameraman, but I didn't hear it.
Oh no, I was the cameraman. So yeah, I shot my own stuff.
So would you say like your first day at this job? I mean, at this point, you kind of knew what the work was entailing, but were you like overwhelmed your first day?
Not really. And I will say, MTSU really prepared us because our last year for News 3, we had to go shoot stories, during that 30-minute class period and write that story and edit it for a grade. So it really felt like class I was just getting paid for, but obviously on a grander scale, right? I didn't have someone who could tell me what I needed to fix. In class, I do my story, I send it off to producers, then they tell me what needs to be fixed and it's on air. But I mean, bureau life was cool as far as not being micromanaged, but at the same time, you're apart from the other reporters. It's not like I'm working on a story about city council later on tonight and there's already a reporter that has to go to city hall for another story, maybe, I don't know, a sanitation strike or something, right? And so that reporter's like, well, Jeané, I'm already going to city hall. Do you want me to grab a soundbite from the mayor too about, the council vote tonight and, what he thinks that council members should do? No, like you don't have that luxury. So, really good time management was what was needed, but I'm thankful for it because now that I do have a photographer, I can look, I know what they're looking for. I know the nets that they're needing for videos and, humble beginnings, but definitely needed. And then sometimes people love it. Like I know reporters that prefer to MMJ. They'd rather just do it all on their own, not have to work with anyone else, get back, ingest their video, write it, and have the rest of the day to do what they need to do for themselves.
So I want to go back to internships. How important do you think your internship experience helped you for being a professional as you are now?
It's so important. Some places won't hire you if you don't have an internship. Because, I mean, let's say you're an employer, right? And you have a resume. One is just like college accomplishments, very important. And then you have another candidate who has those same accomplishments, but an internship. Well, that internship was had at a licensed news station with hopefully competent news talent who could educate you. Like, yeah, you learned this in the classroom, but now you can apply it to everyday life. And then, like with any job, you get in the field and you see it. Okay, we learned that we had this much time to work on a script, or realistically, sometimes you don't have time to even write a script when there's breaking news. You get there, you put your IFB in, you survey the scene, and you just say what you see. You don't have time to write everything out. And at those internships, you learn that. And then obviously, too, you're able to get content at a real station, sit at a desk, do some anchor reads, actually put that on your reel, and have some lighting that's comparable to your skin, that makes sense. Whereas at I'm sure it's different now since people have changed up their news stations. I haven't seen MTSU's, but we all had the same light for all the cameras that sat down.
Let me tell you.
Let us tell you how different it is now.
Kevin and myself went to go visit,
Lord,
and I walked in and I'm like, they did not have this when I was here. I was so pissed off because I was like, for real?
Please tell her some of the things they have there.
Okay. They have let's see. They have a room full of equipment. You remember the equipment that you used to rent out at MT? You remember that?
I don't even think we could rent out equipment. Did we even have equipment to rent?
We did. We had equipment to rent. We rent them out, but it was so crappy that nobody wanted to rent it out. I wasn't telling nobody to come get this crappy equipment. You think I want? Please. I went out and bought my own camera. But now, let me tell you, we went into this room, and they not only had camcorders, they had they had DSLRs. They had microphones, they had the cords, they had all this stuff that you can rent out. And I was like, you gotta be joking me.
Boom mics.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Boom
because
mics.
we when my last year, when Chris Clark was teaching our class, we got a list and we had to go to Best Buy and buy our own camcorder microphones.
That is not the case anymore.
Not now. They have a podcast room that you can record your own podcast in. I was like, you got to be joking me.
Trying to do soundtracks for our news stories. That's crazy. But shout out to them for the upgrades. I'm glad to see that our alumni money went to
right. It went to something.
It did. I'm a little jealous, but our money went real well for them now, and it's actually harder to get into the program now than it was when we were there. You got to have a reel to apply now.
A reel to apply for
get in the program.
To get in the program.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, now
so you need the internship before you start college again.
Yeah, but you can. I mean, it's so much easier. You can use like your iPhone to do stand-ups and stuff now.
Yeah, but even the way news is changing, though, so I don't know what I guess different stations have different standards. Some stations will be like, oh, 1:30 is for a package. Some will say 1:15 is for a package. But when I have just so much pertinent information I'm trying to get across, a stand-up it's not needed, or a stand-up might take away from what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like some stand-ups I get it. Like, yeah, shout out to you for showing your creative side, but it's supposed to be a bridge to combine what's going on, not a distraction.
So I always see it now as filler. Like if you didn't get enough B-roll, or if the B-roll doesn't fit, then you just throw a stand-up in there.
I don't know. I mean, I recall a stand-up I did in one of my markets. This little boy died. He was outside. It was raining hard. He slipped and fell into a drainage ditch. And it was one of the ones where it's like the opening.
Yeah.
Where the water travels through and they down 10 miles down in the little tunnel. And so even then, okay, do I get in this drainage ditch and show how he traveled through? Here's for a stand-up. And then people look at me like, well, that's really, it can be seen different ways. Like it can be seen as disrespectful in a sense, right? Like you got in this drainage ditch showing, or is it like, okay, well, let me do this cool stand-up and show y'all. And it's like, okay, well, she really got down there to show us how he went through the tunnel. Like, I don't know. I guess you just have to be cognizant of that to see
So
I don't know.
news is like ever changing and there's always something new. How long does it take you to put a story together in order for it to get on air?
Oh, okay. So there are different shifts for news. You have mornings, you have day side, then you have night side. Mornings is what I did my last market when I was morning anchor. So I worked 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. Day side is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Night side is 1:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Right? Hopefully you get a lunch somewhere between that time, but nine
Hopefully.
times out of 10 you won't. Um, so let's use day side, right? So that's 9 to 6. You come in at 9. You have hopefully you have your story ideas. You have the morning meeting. That's usually done by 10:30 if everyone's on track and prepared. By 11, you're heading out the door to get interviews. Hopefully you're back by 1 and have gotten all your interviews. Now that's saying that your story didn't fall through, right? Because you know how many times you call people for an interview that they've agreed to do and then you call them and they're like, nah, I forgot about it, or my child's sick, or the company decided they don't want me to speak with you today. So many excuses that really don't help me at the end of the day because I still need to do my story. So, hopefully by like 1 or 2 you're back. By 3 you start logging. And I'm saying this is if you have a photographer, right?
Yeah.
Um, you're gonna have to have even better time management if you don't, because you're not handing off your video for someone to edit. You're editing it. You're having to edit it yourself. You get your video, you get the script written, you get your script approved, you get your video done. Hopefully you're done by 4:30 because the news starts at 5.
Oh man.
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
like right at the. Ooh, Lord.
No, like, but that's if you only have one story to do. You know, sometimes we get 2 stories we have to do. But yeah, I don't know. And then too, you know, there are times people don't make slides, which is why you might see a story that should have been in the A block, but that now in the C block. Which, thank God, I never not made slides, but I've seen it happen with other reporters. But ideally, you want to have your stuff done on a good day by 3:30 or 4. But I've seen people push it like they're transcribing video and attaching it to the news rundown by 4:55, and the news starts at 5 o'clock. Crazy,
So,
but it's news.
you mentioned that, and some probably people don't think about you'll set up an interview with somebody, and they flake out for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So and if that was like your main story, you were planning on doing that day. What do you do once you're in that situation?
Well, it depends. So, I guess I'll use a situation. Let's say, so did it storm down there in Nashville?
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
it did. I got destroyed.
Okay, so let's say we
Cats
woke
and
up.
dogs.
Oh yeah, okay. So let's say we woke up today and one of the schools flooded, so now students can't go to that particular school, right? That's the story of the day, and it's one of the bigger school districts. So, I make a call to the district superintendent, and I really need his sound, right? Because we're trying to figure out, okay, well, where's the money going to come from to fix this building? Where are students going to be bused to? We know that virtual learning is happening now, so you are going to let them get their laptops back so they can go and do school home, like all these different questions, right?
Yeah.
But he decides he doesn't want to do the interview. Well, now I know that most of my interview is going to be MOS, man on the street sound, meaning parents and potentially students. And then what I'll do as a reporter is say, I reached out to Superintendent so-and-so. He wasn't able to interview at this time, but we do have a press release from the school system saying A, B, and C. And I'll just break it down myself with a graphic or do something like that where the viewer doesn't miss any of the information. But of course, you'd rather see him saying it than a graphic. But that's a lot of times why there is a press release on TV, because there's no interview.
I do have a question on that. So, like the sound bites or the man on the street deals, do you ever have any times where somebody says something crazy and you know it'll be entertaining, but you just like, you know, I can't use that?
All the time, because I don't know. I guess I look, being a black woman, I'm not trying to put anything out there to make, I don't know, to affirm someone's thought of me or my people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why it be killing me. Like anytime you see some of these stories, it be like, oh man, it just be like, that's not a good look. Like the POP hold it down lady that was legally blind. I was like, oh, that's a bad look. That's
and
a
I will
bad
say,
look.
like now with her name, I think her name was Donna Goodo. That was the POP
Goodo.
hold
That's
it down
definitely
lady
Goodo.
name. So with that, it was a perp walk situation, and so all the stations had it. I would say for my main story, I wouldn't. I mean, of course, that's all the sound you had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And considering what the story is, like you allegedly hurt an old man, like you don't really care about yourself at the end of the day. So yeah, cool. Like you get what you get, and maybe then I'm like, okay, and head to our website at this, www. to see the raw, uncut perp walk of Don. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Then we'll
yeah.
get our clips online. But I wouldn't put all of it on TV for the newscast because that's not informational. At that point, it's comedic. And allegedly, some old man was harmed. But at the same time, if that's all the sound I have from Donna, who was laughing about it anyway, I can't make you look good when you're not trying to make yourself look good. And it's not my job to make you look good. But at the same time, I feel like there's a fine line between trying to clickbait. I guess that's a better word to use. There's a fine line between clickbait and storytelling.
Well, at least you're cognizant about it because there's some people that no matter what, they put it out.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that goes back to like integrity and morale. Like at the end of the day, I have to go home and look at myself in the mirror, right? Like I have a community that I have to face when I go to church or whatever I'm doing outside of work, and that could be someone's cousin, or you know what I'm saying? Like even with murders, there's still two sides that are affected. There's a family whose person was harmed or injured or killed, and then there's a side who they're also harmed, like they're losing their loved one for however many years because they're headed to jail.
Yeah,
there are two sides.
Yeah, I honestly I get conflicted sometimes, like watching certain after certain incidents happen, so to speak. And then you're like, man, like, regardless, there's still people involved. And like, this person ain't even buried, and we sitting up there already, like, trying to, use this to further our selfish ambitions or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
no,
and that's good. And I will say, I mean, with certain things, of course, certain things might pull at your heartstrings because besides being an anchor reporter, journalist, you're still human at the end of the day. So certain stories where you're reporting on a child that was shot in the head in a drive-by, like, of course that's going to hurt you, but you still have to be reminded that I'm not the judge and jury. Like I'm still telling this story prior to this person being, convicted, and their family still has a side too, because, what if you get out there like, who did this and this, and this, and they're like, well, no, there's surveillance video of him being out of town at the casino that same night. And you've already convicted him of a crime that he potentially didn't do with your storytelling. And sometimes you can tell when reporters feel a certain way. You can tell how they tell the story.
Right. So has there been any story that you ran across that you didn't want to do, but yet your boss was like, yeah, you were going to put this on the air?
So I'm gonna speak very vaguely right now, but I will say, the last presidential election, there were directives that came down from different companies where they wanted you to say certain things, and the way it was phrased is if it was like on behalf of the station, right?
Right.
But the station is owned by the company. So people look at you, they're like, did you just say that? Like, we here at such and such are here for you, and we'll be at the polls till they close, and, make sure you're in line at this time so that your vote counts. And if someone tells you this at the polls, make sure you do that. But it's like they wouldn't tell you this at this poll. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to put it. I don't know. Like, we had former presidents who were like, go back and re-vote if they still, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, we're having to say things like, well, go back there and do this. And I'm just like, okay, well, are we doing like White House initiatives, or are we
Right.
stating statutes that go with voter registration? Like, what are we doing? Yeah.
What about anytime you're like looking at, say, a national story, and you're just trying to get, just general information? Do you ever see any kind of reporting where you like, that's not the whole story, or there's something more to that, or anything like that?
Well, a lot of times when it comes to national stories, so I guess the biggest thing that's happened, let's talk about the riot at the Capitol, right?
Right.
Even that day, so no, I won't speak vaguely on that. So that particular day, sorry to go back previously, but to answer your question, there were directives that came down from different companies saying, let's not call them rioters. But if it's Black Lives Matter, they're all considered rioters. Like, they're never considered protesters. Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So, but they're telling you at this moment, don't call them rioters, call them heated protesters. Or, we can't group all of them as rioters because everyone there wasn't a rioter. But everyone at Black Lives Matter wasn't a looter. Everyone at Black Lives Matter wasn't a rioter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you see different wording that's used for different situations when, I guess, the faces are different. You know what I'm saying? So, sorry, I needed to say that because that did answer the previous question.
No.
But with most,
thank you.
But with most national stories, we have national correspondents that we would use. We would get their stories off of News Source or Latitude, whatever the system is that they're feeding stuff back. So normally we'll just have like an anchor intro and talk to them, and then they'll tell the story. Sometimes we'll localize a national story. So maybe let's use the riot at the Capitol again, right? So you remember the lady that was crying that was from Knoxville, Tennessee?
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
Remember her one?
Who had the onion in her hand, by the way, which I'm like, well, maybe that's why you're crying. But nevertheless. But she said she was tear gassed. So maybe the station in Knoxville might like pull her down and be like, there was a lady from Knoxville who was at the forefront of the riots at the Capitol. This is her name, and here's what she had to say. Then you're localizing it. Then, there are people in the community who might be mad because they're like, well, wait, she's the principal of this school. That's not right that she's out there and, there are African-American students at the school. How is she treating them? Blah, 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 right? Then you'll localize that story. But as far as what happened out there, we'll have the Washington's correspondents handle that, and then we'll get it back because we're not there on the front lines to know exactly, to write that national story because we're, locally at our designated areas. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, very thoroughly.
And we asked for cake, and you gave us a wedding cake.
Good, with the icing.
Absolutely.
You had that little spatula to cut it?
Why would you?
It's like what?
They had that special spatula, whatever. It's got the sharp. It's
talking
sharp
about the
on one
fancy
side.
cake
one.
cutter?
Yeah,
The
the cake cutter.
cake cutter. I can't remember what it's called. It's
We
like
call
a
it
French
a
name.
spatula.
It's like a French name.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's French.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving,
Yeah, it's
moving
fancy.
on.
Fancy.
So there's a saying where they say the news anchor tells you good morning and then proceeds to tell you why it isn't. So.
Oh my goodness, we're going there. Okay, that's cool. We can go there.
Not really, but like I bet you deal with let's say all the horrible things that sometimes happen within that city or town that you're in. How do you decompress? Like when you're done for the day, how do you kind of not take your work home with you?
Well, that's kind of hard now, right? Since we're having to work from home. No, seriously, I'm not being funny. Like seriously, like a lot of times you like, okay, I'm gonna go home and decompress, but now it's like, okay, do I walk into the other room and close my laptop and that's how I decompress? But I know when COVID first happened, there were different stations that handled it different ways. In my particular station, they sent like some reporters home. The anchor still had to be there. And for the first couple of months, I mean, I was 6 feet apart from my co-anchor, but we were still in the same room. And I can't monitor what he does on the weekends. He can't monitor what I do on the weekends. So even telling stories, not knowing if the person across from you is even adhering to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, very stressful, and not being able to see your family for an extended period of time, and you're reporting on people that are at high risk. And my mom has asthma, and all I can do is call her every day. You know, sometimes you want to put your eyes on people to make sure they're okay. And I couldn't. So that was stressful. We were low staff, so couldn't take vacation days that I had, because where are you going to go, right? COVID's here.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do?
Oh yeah. They told me.
Or you'll have time off, and because of COVID, you're like, well, let me just schedule this for another day because my trip got canceled, my flight got canceled. So I know at that specific time, because I think that's one of the big things that's really just impacted news with even how we do things. You've seen more Zoom and Skype interviews on news within the past year than you've probably ever seen in your life. And we've all had to make transitions. I personally never worked from home at my previous station. I still had to come in and anchor. So while I was there, you know, I would have to go out and get my interviews. It didn't make sense to go home. But I will say I reported my first story on my cell phone. And I'm used to, you know, either having a photographer or having my own camera. But I had never recorded a story on my cell phone. When I say I did it, and I was like, you know, I like this better. I have to lug around the equipment. Honestly, the cell phone, it'll automatically refocus for you. You don't have to worry about blue video when you get back. I like it a lot better. But then, you know, you go home, and then there's Twitter, and you sometimes don't want to put your phone down because you don't want to miss anything. And then 3 hours later, you're still up, and you're like, dang, I need to be asleep right now because I got to be up there working too. So decompressing didn't really happen much, to be honest with you. But I guess it's like you sign up for it, so.
Yeah, like so do you think your previous experience actually helped you out quite a bit as far as internship and, you know, having to make stuff happen, make it work, and then moving over to the cell phone? Do you think that just made you like just more adaptable?
Yeah, I mean, I knew, but I mean, and it's crazy to say, you can tell some people don't even, I mean, you know, maybe newer reporters don't even know how to hold a cell phone during the Facebook Live, right? Because, you know, there are people in the comments like, no, turn your phone the other way. So I'm sure patients dealt with that.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I'm sure they dealt with that when it came to, you know, news stories. But I think it was just about like adjusting and transitioning and just, I guess, figuring out what works and what doesn't. I never shot video from my cell phone during my internship because there was never a need to. So there was a lot of learning right then and there. I will say though, a lot of the newer reporters were like, oh, I'm just going to shoot this from my cell phone. They were already doing that in school, I guess. Because
they were younger,
when
I guess.
I was in school, yeah.
We showed up with something with an iPhone.
What'd you say?
If you had showed up with a package that was shot through an iPhone.
Yeah, I probably would have got cursed out.
Yeah. It's funny how times change.
They're like, we ain't doing that over here. Get you
because the crazy thing is, like, I remember in my first market, and it happens with all reporters, when you have your camera, you're like, oh, my battery died, let me call the station, maybe I can meet a photographer or someone to get more batteries. Like, whoever thought, oh, let me just use my cell phone so that no one has to drive back to the station. And now it's like, oh, well, hopefully your cell phone is charged because that is the camera. So times have definitely changed. But, I mean, hey, I'd rather carry my cell phone than 80 pounds of equipment up 3 flights of stairs for a 10-minute interview.
Now, would you do anything special for, like, the sound to make sure the sound's good? Because I actually listened to, I'm not going to say the name of the operation, but it, you know, they're considerable. And I'm like, no ring light. The sound is boo boo. It's not very good. I'm like, man. I mean, $30 worth of equipment, and you would have been straight because the person wasn't on location. They were actually at their house, and I'm like, come on, you can have a cheap ring light.
I mean, honestly, like I love natural light, to be honest with you. So every chance I get to shoot outside, I absolutely love it. Now, of course, you have to remember, okay, let me make sure I'm not shooting under a tree, or if there's a day when it's kind of overcast, you have to remember that, because the sun might come out for a little bit, and then half of your videos, this person's face is shining, and then half of it, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But for most of the time, if I can shoot you outside, I prefer that, because it's a natural light. You know that it's going to be pretty much consistent throughout the whole time. Someone's house is cool too. If there's a lamp or something, they can sit kind of next to where it won't add a shadow to their face. But, you know, we're still teaching people not to shoot with the light behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think it's just the particular reporter or station, they'll just have to care enough to put in the extra time, because the cell phone isn't the light kit. So they would still need a light kit potentially, and all of the other things. As far as microphone is concerned, I just make sure my volume's all the way up.
Okay.
And then when I'm editing, you know, you can go in and toggle with the audio there. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
In your opinion, what's the difference between a good story and a bad story? As far as like shooting it and how it's put together, you know.
That's a good question. A good story versus a bad.
Antoine
I would
Dotson?
think it's the storyteller. I would think it's the storyteller that makes it a good or bad story, because I could cover a career fair. That could seem so boring. But then when I find that character who, you know, it's his first job out of jail, and now he can support his 4 kids, and you know what I'm saying? When you add depth to it, that's what makes a good story. Or I could be covering, you know, the first flight, I don't know, rocket launch to space, and I'm out there shooting the video and I have great sound, but it's all blue.
Right.
Well, one story might be more interesting, but it's not visually captivating, and I half-assed it, for lack of better words. I hope I can say that. But
that's literally
I feel like it's the person, like treating every story like it's breaking news, treating every story like you're interviewing the president, treating every story like it matters. Because there isn't, I don't know, I don't care if I'm covering like a dog, you know, a dog race, or, you know, I'm interviewing Joe Biden. Like, if that's the story I'm covering, I'm going to put in the same amount of effort, because there's someone that's interested in that dog race. That's why I'm there.
Yeah.
I put 5 on it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to anchoring, like, people think an anchor is just the person who sits there and talks. So what is the process? Like, what do you all do to get ready to anchor a newscast?
Well, there might be some that do just that. I wouldn't say that for sure. But I'm just playing.
But yeah, really, you're stating the facts.
You know, there might be some levels where the anchor walks in and they just have a great team of producers, and of course, like, I haven't even started at my new job yet, so not even speaking on my new situation, because I don't start there till Wednesday. So let me make that clear. But you know, maybe the CNNs of the world, where, you know, you have this great team of producers, and, you know, you can stroll in 15 minutes before showtime and get your hair and your makeup done and skim through the stories and know that you're good, right? In these smaller markets, like, sometimes you are the producer, and sometimes you're having to reproduce what the producer did, and you can't just, I don't know, you can't just stroll on in and rely on being a pretty face to get the news done. Like, you have to fact check, and I have to reread stories, and I'm like, whoa, y'all aired this last night at 10? This is totally not correct. We're not going to air this again at 5 in the morning. We need to pull this package. We can turn into a both side and make it the correct information. We're also storytellers too. And quite honestly, I feel like people forget, like, you know, you're considered the face of the station, right? So me getting on TV and saying something wrong again is even less credible than the reporter that said it last night, because I'm sitting at the desk telling you. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you can forgive the reporter who said it last night during breaking news because they were in such a rush. But now it's the next day. Like, we still don't have the facts. There's no excuse.
Well, I think that lends itself to the times, though, because people they tend to be a little bit less thorough,
Mm-hmm.
I commend you on the fact that you actually want to get it correct, not just fast. In
Yeah.
a post Twitter world, everybody kind of goes that
Yeah.
way.
And see, and that's the thing, though. Like, would you rather be first, or would you rather be factual? And that's a great point. You can always want to be first, but then that first sometimes comes with a retraction statement. My bad. Like, how many times do we see people tweeting stuff that someone's died and
Man.
no, they're still on the breathing machine. Like, they're not dead.
Or just you see somebody's name trending and you're like, oh nah, not this one.
Oh
Yeah.
You'd be like,
Every
what?
time Betty White
Oh,
trends,
man.
I'm like, oh, not yet. Oh, okay. She's
It'd
literally
be
trending because
something
she's
silly.
alive.
It'd be something silly. It'd be like, oh, they took pictures at a flower shop.
Not even that, guys. I remember retweeting this publication. I don't remember. It was some big publication, but instead of having a picture of Usain Bolt, they had a picture of Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was. I was like, oh man, I laughed at that one so hard, and then
I was like, is there no person of color that works there? Like, what's going on?
and how Black Twitter is, for all intents and purposes. Anybody
I mean,
doesn't
yeah,
know
it
what
was
that
all
is.
funny and jokes, but then like days after, when you actually digest what happened, you're like, dang, that's kind of messed up. I mean, that's like if Morgan, how people were getting Morgan Freeman and
Samuel
Nelson
Jackson.
Mandela confused. Like, let's not
Wait,
do
what?
that.
Yeah. You
no,
never heard
yeah,
that?
yeah.
No, I always thought they would get him confused for Samuel Jackson. I didn't know they did.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I've seen that.
No, they had a picture when there was Nelson Mandela had passed away, and someone had a billboard with Morgan Freeman on it saying "Rest in peace, Nelson Mandela." I'm like, but that's not Nelson, that's Morgan. Like, I know,
Oh
but
my
that's the simple things, as far as vetting information and making sure it's factual. Those simple things, a graphic where we say this person is in jail this morning for 3 counts of aggravated assault, and we have the wrong mugshot.
Mm.
Ooh,
We
yeah,
have
that could
some
be wrong.
some councilwoman that's now waking up and seeing her face, because it all goes in the same file when you make the graphics. It's just you're searching by last name or first name, however the system is. But when you make the graphic and you do the pictures, it's like all in a mugshot file. Sometimes depending on what software you're using. So you wanted to have Jane Doe, but now you have the wrong Jane Doe, and it's really the councilwoman from your district, and now she's on the news now for 3 counts of aggravated assault when she didn't do nothing.
Oh man,
She's like, oh,
Yeah.
y'all better retract this.
Yeah, but then it makes you look less credible. Then people change the stations because you're not considered accurate. And that's our job, to be accurate. Like, you can't get a second chance when you're getting heart surgery, right? Like, they have to get it right then.
Right.
Why can't it be that same conviction when it comes to storytelling?
because
Like, this is the
people
one
don't care.
chance.
They don't care. That's ultimately what it has to come down to, in my opinion. As ultimately they don't care, and they don't find it as vital. They don't see it like you see it.
Yeah. But then it gives like journalists all a bad name, because then that whole phrase fake media, it sticks harder and it sticks a little longer, because for some that's a factual statement, and now everyone is labeled as that because of the few bad apples in the bunch who don't care.
Yep.
Yeah, it kind of sucks now that you break it down like that. But it just, honestly, it just makes me feel like, well, I'm going to go harder with myself to overcompensate for their lack of care or whatever it is.
No, but I mean, that's good though, because like your example will show somebody else. I mean, if somebody else is looking at you as the example, and you're the flag bearer, the standard, then hey, your integrity does mean something. And oftentimes, like, if we all just like, oh, well, they're getting away with it, so I can. It's like, like my mom used to tell me all the time, if everybody's jumping off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? And I tell her,
Right.
why they jumping off the bridge? Is it on fire? And then she like get mad at me.
He was
Yeah.
that- he was
Really?
that kid.
Yeah, I was that kid.
So, like, part of kind of being a reporter, sometimes, not sometimes, usually often, they end up having to move to a new place quite a bit. So, how do you, and when you move to, like, as you are now, get accustomed to a new town, get yourself accustomed to a new town or a new city, wherever you move to be a reporter at that certain station?
Yeah, so I'll use my example now. So I moved Monday, so I moved tomorrow. I start work Wednesday. I pretty much have to submerge myself. My news director is sending me contacts. I'm sending out emails. Hi, I'm Jeané. I'm, the new kid on the block. I'm happy to be in the area to serve the community. If you have any story ideas, let me know. I have to kind of put myself out there, join different Facebook groups, look at different neighborhood watch pages, look at different events going on in the community, just different things. You don't really, sometimes you do have time where you can like vet people and see what's going on, but sometimes you don't. You just have to hit the ground running. That's literally what I'm going to have to do.
So you almost got to have a story ready by the time you show up. You're almost looking for stories to start on.
Yeah. I mean, to be real, I had story ideas when I interviewed because the news director could say, well, do you know what's going on in the area? And I'm like, well, yeah, I know that the school system has this going on. And I know that, there's a murder trial going on for this guy that did this. And I know that this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have story ideas ready.
Now, would you say
just in case they ask me?
Now, how often do you think a news director would ask that?
During an interview?
Yeah, like, do you have any story just for an average person that's looking for jobs?
Yeah, I'm not going to say they would necessarily say, do you have any story ideas in those words? But they might say, well, do you know what's going on in the area? Then that would be the time to show them that you've done your homework. Or, I mean, at least knowing who the mayor is, who the governor is of the, of the state, or making sure you've at least taken a look at their website to know, like, what stories they've covered. That's another good thing you can do, just to show that news director that you at least care about the content that they're producing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So... Yeah. At one point, you were a reporter at your hometown of Memphis. So, how was that experience?
It was cool. It was always a dream of mine to come home and report. It was nice to have family and friends supporting me. But at the same time, you have those people like, hey, can you come cover my event? Can you do this? Like, well, no, I can't really cover your mixtape release, bro. Like, I can't. That's not really newsworthy. You know what I'm saying? You have those that you have to deal with.
So did you let them down easily, or did you tell them straight up what was going on?
I let them down easy. I'm like, I'll post it on my story. Just send me the flyer. I'll try.
Oh my goodness! They got the flyer on there. Man.
I'm just saying, but that comes with it, or a certain sorority might be like, hey, we have this community service event going on this weekend. Can you come cover it? I'm like, well, I don't work on weekends. I'm Monday through Friday. I can send it to the news desk. I can't make any promises because everyone thinks their event is the most important event. So that I will say that's kind of one thing because you hate telling people no, but
I cherish it now.
Love saying no. It's truly an art form, saying no and not feeling bad about it afterwards.
It is. You're right.
I think it comes with age because it smoothly comes out my mouth now.
Or experience,
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I love Memphis and I love working here. I just will say, though, that, being homegrown, Memphis raised, I wish that they paid people what they were worth so that they don't want to leave. Because honestly and truly, like, I feel like that's why they lose a lot of good talent in the city because they're not willing to pay more. But sometimes they can't pay more, budget. You can't give what you don't have. And with COVID, I would say a lot of people have had to re-sign contracts and get maybe a 2% raise or not a raise at all. Hey, we can't give you a raise. We'll give you an extra week of vacation or we'll try to work something out. Like a lot of hiring managers are having those conversations with their talent. Thankfully, that's not my situation this go round. I'm thankful to say that, but everyone doesn't have that story. So there are people who might still be stuck in contracts they'd rather get out of, but Memphis specifically, I feel like they just need to pay people what they're worth so they won't leave.
Now, as far as like with the process of like interviewing for a job during COVID, like how different is that now? Or
Well, this specific interview was over the. I've never had an interview in person. Now that I think about it, when it comes, I've never had an interview in person. They've always been over the phone. But with COVID, so with this particular job that I start in Little Rock next week, I did the interview over the phone. Then I had another. So my first interview was just over the phone, like how we're talking now. Then my second interview was a Zoom interview where I met with the producers, the team that I would be working with. And then a few weeks later, I got the call that I got the job. Then days after that, I went down. They got me a hotel room so I could like look at the area, meet people at the station, all that entails. That was pretty normal, I guess. Sometimes they'll fly you out to come down and do interviews, but I think those are only at certain levels.
I feel like that's probably more common to do the phone interviews in your career field.
Yeah, because realistically, I mean, they've already looked at when they make a call, they vet it through resumes. So it's not like you would hope that it's not just a cold call. You haven't read my resume. You're asking me, well, how many years experience do you have? And you're like, well, did you not read my resume? Like, it says on there. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I don't mind answering that. But like just like I'm prepared for this interview. I hope you are too. But no, my last interview was great. Like I laughed a couple of times. Spoke with the company. Like it was really good. And you want to feel like that after you commit to a station. You want to feel like I'm joining this company. I'm on contract for this number of years. I don't feel like I'm stuck. This is something that I want to do.
Right. So for a up and comer anchor, what do you suggest that they do?
I would say any good anchor needs to be a good reporter. Like a lot of people emulate that role. I want to be an anchor. I want to sit at the desk, and that's amazing. But I can't tell you how many times I was anchoring in Shreveport, and I had to leave the desk and go cover breaking news because we didn't have a morning reporter. And the times that I got up and left and didn't just want to sit at the desk, those are the things that made my reel so strong. You need to be able to ad-lib as an anchor. Well, if you don't know how to ad-lib during breaking news, do you think you could sit in a studio with light shining on you, someone shouting in your ear, breaking news, read prompter, and then prompter goes out, and now you're having to ad-lib facts that you just read on your phone from Twitter? Like, it gets real.
So you from my mom's neck of the woods, or you were in my mom's neck of the woods. My mom's from Minden, so it was right down the street.
Minden? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with Minden.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
It's
there's
close.
It's
close.
Yeah, Minden. There's I don't want to say. I think like an army. Camp Minden is there, but it's like an army.
Well,
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. It's close. It's close.
Yeah, but I would say before you focus on anchoring, like focus on being a great reporter, because you move up and you appreciate the humble beginnings. Like I stated, I started off as a MMJ, so I had to lug the camera around many flights of stairs and, rush in the news vehicle to get from point A to point B. And then when you're sitting in the passenger seat of a photographer's car, you're like, yeah, you appreciate it. But now I'm like, okay, now I can use this time to log my sound. And that way when I get to the station, I can actually work on my script. Like it's never a time, in my opinion, where you should get complacent. Like getting to the anchor chair isn't the final stop. Right. If that makes sense.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just saying it's even more of a responsibility, in my opinion.
I wasn't trying to cut you off or step on you, but earlier, you just now you repeated again. You said MMJ, right? For those listening, what's that? What is that?
No, you're fine. A multimedia journalist. I never said what it was.
There we go.
Yeah, we just get used to hearing that phrase so much. I'm actually glad.
Yeah, multimedia journalist. Some people call them MMJs, multimedia journalists. Some people call them photojournalists. Some people call them one-man band, one-woman band, meaning you're doing it all yourself.
So for you, for you, what is the ultimate goal for yourself?
That's changed over the years. Honestly, like I thought I'd be married with kids by now. I'm all of single, so I don't know. Like I just, there are toxic newsrooms everywhere and things that you have to deal with at different shops. Honestly, I just want to be in a newsroom where I'm appreciated, one as a person, but also as a journalist, and where I can make an impact on my community. And so I don't know, that can happen on the network level. That cannot happen at the network level. We see all these lawsuits coming out now of how things aren't happening at the network level. So
for lack of what you were talking about earlier, the lack of integrity and people trying to be first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. Do y'all remember? What was his name? Brian Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Who had his own show and here today and it's gone tomorrow because they're like, oh, you said this stuff happened in Iraq that allegedly didn't happen. Like, no one's safe, right?
Right.
And sometimes people put themselves in those positions, and sometimes people don't put themselves in those positions. Like, things just happen, whether it be because of race, color, whatever. Like, people are gone the next day. So, honestly, like, this is what I do. When that contract time is up, I see different places I like. I apply to them, and I pray over it. And I'm like, God, what's for me, keep, and what's not, remove. And then I get those interviews, and I say the same thing. And then what's left, I'm like, God, thank you for this opportunity. And I'm just living my life based on that now, because I might say myself, oh, I want to be the next Robin Roberts. And God's like, I don't want you to be the next Robin Roberts. I want you to go to, I don't know, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's where I want you for the rest of your life. Like, if that's where he wants me, I know I'm going to do great at it because he's ordained it.
Right.
Whereas I go where he doesn't want me, and I'm struggling every day, and I'm having a tough time in the newsroom, and you know what I'm saying? Like, just putting things into perspective. To answer your question, I just want to be where God wants me to be.
Perfect answer.
All right. So, with being a reporter, you're also somewhat of a local celebrity. So a lot of reporters do a bit of engaging with the audience as far as with social media. Do you like that part of your job, or is it kind of a pest for you?
It's cool. I mean, people say that. I'm just like, celebrity for who? But it's cool. I mean, you have to obviously carry yourself a certain way, and you have to think twice before you post this or do that. I mean, it could even be that being real, it could even be that time of the month, and you're in the feminine care aisle of Walmart, and somebody walks up on you like, "Dang, can I get this for myself real quick? Like, do we have to talk about it right now? I know you have a story idea, Sam, but can't we wait?"
They run up on you.
Yeah, I don't know. But there are perks sometimes, it's like, oh, that's the news lady. You might get this off, or, working for news, you might get free Disney World tickets because you're in media. Like, there are certain perks that you like, but, what's the saying? With something comes responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility. Whatever the saying is,
you're right.
The eye is really on you, literally on you. And, there are sites like FTV, you could be on the beach. And obviously, if you're on the beach, you might have on a bikini. But because you post that picture, now you're in a blog the next day. And it's a problem. So you just have to think twice before you do things. And, we chose this job, so we can't really complain.
I don't know. Something like that, though, is like kind of silly to me. And I feel like people are acting too, especially in the world we live in. There's much worse stuff. I mean, if you're going to the beach and you're in a bikini, really? Like, do you feel like this is I feel, I don't know. That's just me. I'm going off on a tangent right now. Excuse me.
Yeah, it almost kind of leads into the next thing I was going to ask. So every now and then you'll hear this story about, let's say, somebody complaining about something an anchor was wearing, or how they said something, or whatever. So have you ever had like a situation like that?
Yeah, my last market, I was anchoring the evening newscast. I would sometimes literally anchor mornings go home, take a nap, and come back and anchor evening. And on this particular day, I don't know his name, so we'll just call him Joe Blow. Joe Blow was like, "Oh, she's speaking too fast, and we can't understand anything she's saying. If she's on the news again, we're gonna change the channel." And thankfully, at the time, my news director, and now this didn't just come to my email. This went to these stations. Like, he sent this to the newsroom. I'm sitting at the desk anchoring in break, reading this, and he that girl me, right? So you know where my mind went when I'm like, that girl, like, oh, you can't say my name, you know?
Yeah.
But my news director, I appreciated him replying all and being like, well, that girl's name is Jeané, and she's actually our morning anchor, and maybe you should tune in during the morning to get to know her better and understand her personality. I was like, I don't think I'm speaking too fast. Maybe you're listening too slow, but of course, you know, you can't even. Of course, you can't even clap back at the viewer because now that's a problem, right? So thankfully, I had a news director who handled it at the time. But I mean, people don't have an issue with anything. Like, I'm naturally curly. I choose to wear my hair naturally curly. Now someone's emailing the station saying, "Why is her hair so nappy? She needs to wear it straight." And this is like, someone's gonna always have a problem. So I'm just like, if I like it and my news director's happy with it, then I'm cool with it. Can't make everybody happy. So
how
I at least need to be happy.
How do you fight that urge to not bring out your petty side when people do this?
Unemployment and bills. That's how you fight that.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
That's how you fight the urge.
That's very adult of you.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna say I've never clapped back. It's just, you know, as you get older, you learn to fight your battles, and you're like, you know what? I don't know, like, I had a friend who told me when people do that, look at them as if they have a mental illness. And
that's a good point.
Yeah. Like, girl, listen, like, and when I say it helped me, because imagine somebody coming up to you who has a mental illness saying something to you, and then you go off on them and then you feel bad because you're like, oh, wow, you didn't mean that. Like, you can't help it, right? Like, maybe you have whatever you have.
Right.
And I'm looking at it like, okay, maybe this person, like, I don't know, maybe their mom died this morning, or maybe they have Tourette's or whatever they have, and they're just spewing at the keyboard. Now I go off on them, and it's like, well, no, you know what? They receive a government check for this. I really shouldn't be this harsh with them. Let me think twice. I just view them in that light, and I just like, you know what? God bless you. I'm sorry that you have to take it out on me, but you know what? I'm glad I'm strong enough to take it, because you could have went off on somebody else, and it could have ended different.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
cool. You picked the right one today. Yeah. Good job.
You know, I heard Gary Vaynerchuk say something like that. He's like, whenever somebody comes at me a certain way, he's like, I feel bad for them, because, like, you know, you feel that badly where you have to lash out at somebody else. You know, I'm like, man, but I think yours is a lot more sticky. Like, for real, like, and I think more people will relate to that versus like feeling bad for the other person. Because I mean, especially when they say something like real crass towards you, like,
yeah, because I'm not feeling bad for.
Because like, I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, I've had coworkers say crass things to me, like, because I don't like, just because they're horrible, you know, they just were raised differently.
Yeah.
You can't even comment and say, "Hey, chill out" nowadays, because now you're angry black woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's double standards across the board, even at the workplace. So, and that leads into what I was saying previously, when I'm like, you know, you just got to pray that you're in a safe environment nowadays. You just got to pray that you're in an environment where someone won't say the N-word just because it's Tuesday, and then you have to face them Wednesday, and they don't get fired because, oh, they didn't mean it. Now, let me have said that. Would I still be to work on that?
Nah.
No, ma'am, Pam.
They didn't mean it.
They didn't mean it.
Oh my goodness, it slipped out. it slipped out.
No, but seriously, like, that's the double standard that exists in society, and that's with any workplace. You know what I'm saying?
You're right, because at my job, here it's kind of like they know a different side of me, and it's called the Memphis coming out of me, and they know when I start talking a certain way, they know to get out the way. So,
hey, I'm feeling very Memphis today.
That's what I'm saying. Like, now I'll just look at you and smile, but back in the day, I would lower my head and shake it and be like, "Hey man," and once I said, "Hey man,"
Oh, there you go. There you go.
you gotta know, like,
oh,
you chill out real quick.
Or it's like, hey, bro, hey, listen, I'm the wrong one to come after right now.
But you know what? You know what?
I'm gonna tell you this one.
You know what I noticed in my time, like, because when I was younger, I used to fly off the handle all the time to be like, "Yo, man, that dude, yeah, just be careful." And like, I noticed when you don't get the reaction, because they wanted to get a reaction most times.
Oh, most definitely.
And you don't give them the reaction, they get even worse.
Oh yeah.
Like even in traffic, you give somebody a thumbs down and shake your head no. Oh man,
thumbs down.
That is so disrespectful to them.
Yeah, thumbs down.
Yeah, that would be.
You give them a thumbs down and shake your head no. Be like, I'm disappointed in you, and like make sure
you said in traffic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you're driving,
we don't do that in Memphis.
I'd be like, I'm disappointed in you.
We don't do that in Memphis.
I mean, we get our fingers in traffic.
Right. I was
one of my friends, he's from Philadelphia. And, you know, he's not of the same background as me. I'll just say that. And he said, try doing that. See how somebody reacts. Oh my God. You think
if I was driving literally in Memphis,
you think somebody giving you the finger was like road rage? Oh my God!
Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, because that's comparable to like when you get in trouble and you get a spanking or a whooping, whatever you want to call it. Like it's that moment, but then having your mom or dad say, "I'm disappointed in you," that hurts a little bit stronger. So maybe the thumbs down is that equivalent of someone saying they're disappointed in you, whereas the finger sign is just a quick like spanking. You know, you're over it. So maybe that's what.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look, I'm talking about the whole thing. Like, you do that, and you can see them, and you say, "I'm disappointed in you," and they know what you said through that car, and they were like,
"Homeboy jumping out the car."
Yeah, oh man, they get mad.
Well, look, y'all, if y'all listen to that advice, make sure you do it in a well lit area, not on the street by yourself.
All right, so I want to end it with this last question. How has news changed for you since you've entered the world of news?
I guess the simplest answer would be technology. When I first started out, Twitter wasn't like the go-to, but now more stations, even the one I'm joining now, it's kind of like digital first. So there's this digital component. And they even now have digital reporters where they create content strictly for social media. So I would say technology. I think that's the biggest way that's changed, but it's one that's needed because if something happens, you're going to grab your phone to get the update before you wait for 5 o'clock news, right?
Right.
And news has gotten on that bandwagon and they've taken that knowledge and run with it to where you might see a story before it airs at 5. And so now we can give you other content at 5.
Okay. So do you think like the certain stations are taking the digital component as more important than the television component of news?
Yeah, there are some that have. But honestly, too, you know, with that digital component, I don't know if you all know this, but sales is what drives news. Like sales, advertising, that makes money for the news station. So they love it when they can throw an ad or something, a 30-second ad before you can watch, you know, a mass shooting at a hospital. Because now this air conditioning company has been seen by millions of viewers on top of you knowing that your grandma's okay because she survived the mass shooting at the hospital. So,
I don't know.
Honestly, it's a way to monetize.
I don't know if I want my refrigerator company shown right before that.
You know. Yes. And there's no way to fast forward it because I've tried several times. So you gotta watch.
Well, Jeané, thank you for taking time out to talk to us today. It has been a pleasure.
Yes.
No, thank y'all. I
Most
enjoyed
definitely.
it. I've had a great number of laughs with y'all.
Well, we try not to be so serious here. There's enough in life to be serious about.
I try.
Try to what?
No, I
You just
appreciate
give
y'all
whack
having me.
jokes.
Come on. Not all of them are whack.
No, you're right. Not all of them. I've laughed at a couple of them.
50%.
50. Okay,
50%.
I get it.
On that note,
Whatever's in your head.
whatever makes you feel happy. This is we'll fix it in post, and that is a wrap.
Sure.